we are continuing our journey. You know, we are beings billions, if not trillions, zillions of cosmic years old, young, never ending adventure. We are so much connected right now to planet Earth and her evolution. But really, we are very multidimensional beings. And so this journey never ends. We have so many universes to explore. We have the entire cosmos that is ever expanding to explore. And it seems like sometimes we want to arrive somewhere. And yet, I think it's going to be very exciting to know that we never arrive, really, fully and completely, as we always have something more to explore. Yesterday, we participated in amazing service to this beautiful planet. And when we are in service to this beautiful planet, we are actually in service to creation, to source, to Divine Mother, to Divine Father. We yesterday participated in something so incredible. It was almost like lifting the earth to a whole new frequency, the entire planet. And I know many people felt it around the world, the big change. The change is happening within us. The change is happening through us. And so, but as the journey never ends, I know, you know, it would maybe seem like we want to take a little break, but break from what? We cannot take a break from our own truth, which is our divine being. We cannot take a break from our mission, which is to exist and to fulfill always and always the mission of expansion. So, you know, it depends on how we want to live, but there is a highway to live. And that way is to always be on purpose and always taking a step forward. We don't want to be stagnant. That's not our design. And so the next 4 days, starting today, we will be exploring our multidimensionality. I will share everything that I have seen, everything I experienced, because that's what I can talk about. Otherwise, you know, there are many wonderful experiences people can have, and you have, and definitely please do share those. And you know, it's a big cosmos, so I think it's the infinity of experiences. So I really hope to be helpful with the next 4 days. We will always meet at the same time and repeat at 5 p.m. Pacific as well. We will design this event through, it's going to be a little bit of sharing and meditation, a little bit of sharing, meditation. So every day we'll do half an hour of sharing and then half an hour of meditating. Really, why meditation is so powerful? Well, in this world, it is needed. And it's not that all beings in all dimensions would meditate, but right now in this world, it's a very important path because it takes us away from the distortion and it brings us back into balance and alignment. So who are we really in this world? Again, you know, like from my experience, it is you come into this world and you already come with amazing knowing, knowledge. You come with a team. You come with a very big mission, and then as you live and you every day fulfill your mission, you do your thing that you need to do, then you are always given more of a revelation, but also guidance and also initiations. And so sometimes it feels like, you know, I feel like when I was in my 20s and I started to, for example, follow Orin, and I never knew that the expansion could be so infinite. It seemed like once you meet your higher self, that could be it. Then next thing you know, you meet your soul, then you meet the spirit, and then you meet Divine Mother, you meet Divine Father. Then you get to meet the central spiritual son of Alpha and Omega, and you think, well, that must be it. But it never is just it. It always goes on and goes on. So let us go on and on. So the question always is, you know, how do we want to actually live? And so in this lifetime, we are in a human body. We wake up in the morning, we have a day, we have some night as well if we don't sleep, or we sleep. And so that's basically our existence. So what we do with that gift of existing in this world right now is really up to us, and how we choose to structure our day is again up to us. I always recommend following some practices that you love. So whatever it is that you love will be a wonderful way to structure your day. Yogananda always said, if you have discipline, you have freedom. And people said, well, discipline doesn't sound like freedom. And he said, no, it's actually discipline that gives you freedom. Because when you know what you're going to do when you wake up, when you don't have to wander around and allow unconsciousness to creep in, when you know exactly, okay, when I wake up, this is how I start my day. When I get out of bed, this is exactly what I do. This is the breathing exercises. This is the meditation. This is the yoga. This is the qigong. This is the tai chi, and so on and so on and so on. And so then there was no room for, unconscious doing, unconscious thoughts. And it doesn't mean that every day has to be the same, but I suggest maybe making a list of all the things that you love doing that bring you higher consciousness, and then choosing, if you don't want to repeat them every day, but some things, maybe you love doing every day. I love every day meditating at sunrise outside, no matter if it's raining, if it's cold. The colder it is, the better it gets. And if it rains, that's amazing, because then you put your feet on the ground, and not only are you touching the ground, but also you're touching the element of water. Exactly. You can have a treasure chest from which you pick, whatever it is. And so designing your day to be truly divine. And some of us still have jobs that maybe don't feel so divine, but even try to implement a little bit of divinity into your job if you have a job that you don't love. And that could be that you are listening to some mantras, that you are doing a little bit of journaling, that now and again you take a break to maybe read from a book you love, or listen to an audio book, do a little meditation with Oren. They only take, 4 minutes. If you like to do short meditations, if you have more time, do longer. And really putting as much divine activity into your day and night as possible. And so our 12-dimensional self, let's take a look at our 12-dimensional self. So we all have been actually blessed incredibly since it started really in the year 2018, when things finally shifted on planet Earth. And then it got better in 2019. And in 2019, in October, Yogananda came to me. So this was before the so-called pandemic. And Yogananda said, Adi, we're going to be activating everyone's cellular water, and we will be actually restructuring the cellular design of a human being. So everybody will go to a higher dimension within, with the body. And so we say ascension is happening through the body, with the body. And so you can imagine what happened next. And so 2020 to me, it was the biggest breakthrough for humankind. And our I am presence, which we can also call the divine self. I will show the picture that the beings gave me once. They said, it's a sacred circle of 12. And within the sacred circle is the sacred heart with the 4 corners. And so the divine self is centered around the sacred heart. And so in 2020, it was in August, we received the fullness of our divine self. Really, I call it downloaded into us, because when it happened, I was, for example, at Mam Shasta. It happened in the middle of the night. And this structure, which is like a multi-dimensional geometry, actually came through the top of the head into us. And it moved through the entire energy body. It restructured us, and it anchored deeply into all of us. So this is what we have here now. Our 12-dimensional design has been reactivated. So this is the original design of a human being, but because we've been through a lot through the last 2 civilizations, and well, this is the civilization that is going to return to this blueprint. But the original blueprint of humanity, actually, of you and me, when we first came here, and again, I in human years, I say billions, trillions of years ago, it really was when the big solar system was created. So, people say there is one universe, but actually, I will be teaching how to travel out of body the way that I do it, and that I really feel that I've mastered the technique. So I'll be sharing it the next few days. And so when you actually are able to travel out of a universe, which we all actually have the same abilities, of course, then it's mind-blowing to see that truly there are multiverses, and we are simply evolving in a universe, while other beings, and so many of them, are evolving in other universes. And I really cannot speak about their evolution and how they designed the world, but I'll speak about how we designed this world. So when we designed this world within this universe, we of course are in a galaxy. And so we designed a very big solar system that was created upon the power of 12. So we have 12 divine aspects of divinity that we wanted to play here with, experience. And for example, the divine beings that I work with, they call this the Hercules, so Hercules design. And they say that Hercules is a name for the design, and that it means the divine human, and that the divine human would be a being who would have these 12 aspects of God, of divinity, this beautiful multidimensional rainbow light, but that it would be embodied in a very kind of tight time and space reality, which is here right now. And so the idea was originally that we will go, and we are actually part of this very large solar system, which has many different suns, so 12 suns. And so 12 suns, and each sun has 12 planets. And all of this probably is invisible to our science. So it's okay. We have to use our spiritual science. And spiritual science is something that we uncover when we work with meditation, we expand our consciousness. And then now and again, we have a big breakthrough where suddenly, maybe we travel out of body, either by design or spontaneously, and we are able to see more, experience more, know more, and understand more. And so with the big system that we are part of, our big central spiritual sun through which we all came, you and me, is this sun that we call the Alpha and Omega. So the beginning and the end. But again, for us, that's how we got here. And so the idea now is in 2022 that this already has really been reactivated within us. And so we can actually have access to our own multidimensionality. So when I traveled through what I call the really 11 dimensions, but then I was able to see into the 12th one. So I'll speak about it. Many of you heard this before, but I find it very useful because it really explains quite a lot about who we are and what's within us and what we can do here right now to have a great life. So the way that I perceived it, and I found this picture online, which kind of helped me to represent it, is that we within us have these 12 dimensions, and you can call them chakras. I see them as a big tower that is within us, because we do have a spine that is physical, but we also have a spine that is non-physical. And so that is the spine that connects us to our own multidimensionality. And really it leads to the Godhead. And for us, that would be the embodiment, the presence of Godhead in the central spiritual sun. And so if you see it as towers, you will see it as layers. You see it as really floors within the tower. And so each time you go higher, you move through a level, kind of like a plane of existence. The higher you get, the better it gets. It's okay to be down here because each level needs to be mastered. And of course, when we get to the top of it, we will actually encounter not only Godhead, but also you will encounter your own being, your own self as your highest self. Another way to see this, which is an image that many of you are familiar with also, I love that this one has Om as source, and it also has Krishna, and not Jesus as the representation of the Christ self. The Christ self, we all have a Christ self. And, we have religions that I think misunderstood a lot of things, but I think every religion has a very good intention. And that is to bring as much divinity and discipline possibly into our lives and to lead us to greatness. So I think the intention behind religions was originally good. But of course, it became what it became. And so there is the quote that maybe many of you know, which I think Christians, many of them probably misunderstood, when they thought that the only way to get to God is if you accept Jesus. But I think that's a very big misunderstanding, actually, because Christ and Jesus, it's not the same thing. And yet, of course, Jesus, just like you are, was the embodiment of the Christ self. We all are. We just need to clean up a little bit to allow it to shine a little bit brighter through us. And so, in a way, it is true that no one comes to the Father except through me. But the reason for this quote is actually because this is our design. The way to go higher is to actually embody your Christ self. And then, of course, that allows you to go higher and higher and higher. So in a way, I thought it was interesting that that would be actually applicable. And that is that when we embody our Christ self fully and completely, then we can go higher and higher and higher until we merge with the Godhead. And so this masterclass that I'll be teaching here, this masterclass will be all about embodying the Christ self, going through the 12 dimensions and understanding our purpose for being. Our purpose for being is so different from what life has become on planet Earth. You know, we were supposed to just fully live in the mystery and to learn about the mystery, but not through books, but really through experience of this amazing creation. So the idea was that we will fully know our design, of course, and that even though, let's say, we are on planet Earth right now, it is an amazing opportunity to become the highest version of your own being and to create. So I prepared a few slides here, so I'm going to take you through them, and then we'll go into meditation in about 11 minutes. So it's good to understand that we are beings of rainbow light. And so working with the rainbow light is very powerful. It is not just fun, but also we learn from Yogananda that we need to do some cleansing first. What we are cleansing is the personality self so that we can fully embody our divine self. You know, it requires quite a lot of things. One of them is mental clarity, meaning the mental body, for that mental body to be aligned with really our divine thoughts, the mind of God. And I think that's why humanity obviously has had a hard time to be in divine thoughts all the time. But we are learning to do it, and it's becoming easier and easier. So the higher you go, the better it gets. And why is that? So even though you are here, and like I experienced myself, you have access to all your versions of yourself. Really, it is you as a multi-dimensional being simply becoming aware of yourself. And so you really don't go and need too much. You just need yourself to be able to really give you the revelation of who you are. And so as I traveled through these dimensions, it was almost like traveling through a tree of life, the 12-dimensional tree of life. So you will also see that there are some traditions that work with the 10-dimensional, but actually it should be 12-dimensional tree of life, because there are 12 dimensions in our world, in our system, in our solar system. And again, you want to actually get to know yourself in every dimension of your 12-dimensional tree of life. It is your tree of life. And for example, when I was 13, I really had this huge desire to meditate. And so I went to a bookstore and I asked what they had on meditation. And this was in communism, so they didn't have much, but they gave me the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And so I thought, okay, I'll take it. I'll just chant and read everything from the Book of the Dead. So I was doing all the different practices and chanting, and I didn't know that actually it was a manual for actually having a near-death experience, which I think is what happened. And so I completely left the body. And because I know what is, astral travel or out-of-body experience, this was different. This was actually a near-death experience where the disconnect between the body and the spirit, or whatever you are when you come out, was complete. So I completely disconnected from the physical world, and I completely entered the spiritual world, the non-physical world, divinity, I don't know. And that's when I met this beautiful divine being who sent me back immediately. And she said to me, you still need to grow along the tree of life. So as a 13-year-old, I had no idea what she meant, but obviously looking back now with all the things, you know, that we now know, it only makes sense. We came here to grow along the tree of life, to go higher and higher and higher and higher until we really become our highest self. And the highest self, I will speak about where I found the highest self. So again, you know, I always speak about cosmic mother as the cosmic mother nature, since she is the manifested cosmos with all nature within her. For example, in this world, you know, our civilization didn't treat nature so well. And yet she is the embodiment of divinity. And so, for example, the body of the mother is in all of nature, cosmic nature, so the galaxies, but here specifically in the nature that we know as nature. And so the elemental queendom is really a body of the mother. And we all are designed upon the principles of nature, whether it is physically or non-physically. Again, I found quite incredible designs within the 12 dimensions, and the design is always nature. And so we are also seeds, and we go from a seed into a flower, into a tree, and from a tree, when we finally accomplish the journey, which means you activate your own 12 dimensions, then you start giving fruit, which means you become a true creator being. You know, this is a big journey for us. We were designed, we came into being so that we create. This is really the fundamental mission that we all have. I don't like using the word manifest because that's, to me, not what it is. Create. Just like Divine Mother creates, we too were designed to create. And you can say co-create because we could never create without life force, which is given to us from source. And so how do we create? Well, number one, we were originally designed to only create that which is good, that which is beautiful, that which is harmony, and that which honors all life. And this was the fundamental mission that we came here with. You can tell that some things didn't work so well because unconsciousness was introduced to planet Earth. But again, this is the most important lifetime, I think, that we've ever had on planet Earth, maybe except for the first lifetime that was in Mu. But now this is the most important lifetime because humanity is actually invited to return to consciousness, which means to remember that we actually wanted to create through consciousness only, and that we wanted to learn the 12 aspects of divinity within us, which means to learn every level of our tree of life so that we can get to the top of our tree of life, which I found to be in the 11th dimension, and then merge back with source and start again. But the thing is that when you merge with source, you actually start again, but this time as a fully accomplished creator being who learned how to do it. And then you give rise to others. So you kind of become like a small divine mother, small divine father to other beings, because now you are a very accomplished divine being. So the way that I move through dimensions is by chanting Om. I do it when I'm in the body. I do it when I'm out of body, but I also do it also internally. So in the middle of the night, for example, if I want to travel out of body, I don't want to wake up my husband, so I don't chant Om loud. But I find that Om actually works for me better if I chant it internally by looking into my third eye. And this will be the method I'll be teaching on how to open the third eye and how to have these experiences through chanting and through different other techniques. So Om, if you chant Om, you are connecting with really the etheric sound of creation, which is beyond language. but you are kind of connecting with Divine Mother. You dialing the number of creation, and so divinity, Divine Mother, Divine Father, whatever you want to call it, Source can hear you. So Om is to me the most powerful chant that I know. But when you chant it, there are two important things. We always, when we want to be effective with our chanting, we chant either loud or silently, it doesn't matter. But we want to always chant from the bottom of our heart and soul with a big desire for really being the highest version of who we came here to be, so that we can fulfill our destiny. And so it calls Divine Mother through the heart, but also through the chant. So that's really important. And the second one is that when you chant your Om, you will have your eyes closed, ideally, and yet you are looking into the middle of your forehead, into your third eye. So that's what I find really, takes us through different dimensions. And so when I traveled through the 12 dimensions, I found that everything is really in cosmos. Oh, I cannot maybe say everything in cosmos, but I found that everything that I saw in cosmos is designed upon the same principle, and that is the principle of the tree of life. And then this tree of life, actually, you can find like this, creates the toroidal field, the torus. And so you see as above, so below, you see the crown and the roots. I found that we are designed the same way, with the crown and the roots. And you can find the same. I saw this when I went outside the universe. I saw the universe is the same shape. The galaxy is the same shape. The sun is the same shape. The earth is the same shape. And you can see the strangeness about the earth. She's tilted. And that is not really the perfect alignment. And that is because the earth herself, as a planetary being, has been out of balance so much through unconsciousness that takes place here. But again, that's why you are here. You are here on a mission to actually restore the perfect balance within the earth herself, as well as we restore the perfect balance within us. And so in the 11th dimension, I found that our highest self that looks like you, but is what we would call perfected, the perfect one that you are, exists in the 11th dimension. You see this beautiful being in the 11th dimension is able to see all things, is able to understand all that is around you, is able to see source, is able to see the ultimate 12th dimension, and yet is still in a body, yet is still individualized, and still looks like you, but again, is the perfect version of you, so the illuminated one. But that is you. So all of this exists within you right now, and we just need to crack the code. And cracking the code is what I found is through daily practice, daily meditation. And so I will be sharing some tools that I use the next 4 days. And some of you already have those tools. Some of you have worked with the tools. And for those of you who don't have them, you will know where to get them. So for example, today, we will be working. So if you have never worked with Orin, let us know in the chat. But for those of you who have worked with Orin, for me, this has been one of the most powerful tools in my life. It's a website. I really have nothing to do with the website or with the tools, but I recommend them because they are so powerful. So orindaban.com. If you have worked with me before, then you know I have 3 favorites. One of them is increasing your inner light with Orin. Another one is accelerating your evolution with Orin, which I have here. And then the third one, if I should recommend, is birthing a new you, transcending your ego. And why is it so important to transcend the ego? Well, it's the ego. We call it ego. We can call it many different things. We can call it personality self, the limited part of us. So definitely, if you don't know Orin, go to orindaban.com, look at all the work they have. It's amazing. I highly recommend getting at least 1 album and working with it every day. They have single meditations. They are $7 each. So it's pretty incredible. For example, we will be working with this one, Taking a Quantum Leap, and that's $7. So, It's pretty incredible what you can do with very little. And so today I'm going to introduce this work here. Again, many of you already bought it. And Oren Daben. So you see the website here. That's amazing. Thank you so much. So for everyone who already knows where to find this, if you don't mind posting it in the chat. So I'm recording the event, but the meditation itself will not be recorded, obviously, because of copyrights. So I'll always post the event itself without the meditation on YouTube. And again, I highly recommend that everybody gets these albums. They are not expensive at all. I think each album has about 12 journeys. And so you can take the journeys, I always say, for the rest of your life, and you will never regret. And that's true. At least I think that's what allows us to really open up the fullness of who we are. And so birthing a new you. We are birthing a new us when we let go of the personality self limitations and all the suffering and pain that actually only exists in the personality self. And then we liberate the being that we are so that we can expand higher and higher and higher to finally get into the beautiful, to meet yourself. Some people call this journey the Kundalini Awakening. That's one way to refer to this. It is basically that life force within us can finally travel through the 12 dimensions within us, which is really important. You know, within us is a pathway. And the pathway is the path of nature. It is the cosmic mother nature within us. So nature is so much more than what humans usually understand nature to be. This is our divine nature. It's pretty amazing. And we are opening up the pathway where it was blocked. Why was it blocked? Well, it got blocked when we had the fall from consciousness into unconsciousness. And ever since then, it has not been easy. And so now we're going to make it easy. We're going to open up the pathway within us so that our life force can freely travel up again. And when you travel up again, you are just traveling to your own highest self. And for those of you who have Gaia TV, I'll quickly share something from a really wonderful documentary. I was actually looking at Snow White as she sings how all the animals come to her, but I wanted to show you this. So this is from Gaia TV, and they have a documentary called, I think it's called Kundalini. And these are researchers who through meditation awakened the pathway within. So I wanted to show you one of them just for 1 minute and what he discovered through meditation.
When we had a bit of a longer meditation session is when I had this experience. And I could, once I started to meditate, and then I felt in the solar plexus area a turning sensation and a pain. And at first I thought, am I going to be ill? Because that's the only action, other than normal digestion that I'd really ever had. And I felt like I was kind of rocking a little bit back and forth. And then all of a sudden there was this explosion of light, inner light. And with my eyes closed, I could see over my head what I perceived as the Star of David. Now, I wasn't from the Jewish tradition, and I was surprised, to be honest with you, by that. And at the same moment that light came up to my head, and I saw that star, I heard the words, "All men are created equal." And then when I was walking home at the end of the session, I could see me coming toward me. In other words, I just saw myself. Not necessarily totally as I look, but just brighter, with a little bit of light interwoven in the features and so on. I wasn't scared, it didn't bother me. I just thought to myself, well, I've finally met myself.
And, you know,
And that's exactly what it is. We are just meeting ourselves in the highest dimensions, which is pretty incredible. So think about it. When you come to the 11th dimension within yourself, you meet yourself. And I call it the cosmic joke. All the seeking only leads to the one, which is you. And so this is so beautiful. So let us go into the intention, which is always so important. And you see, this is what we're going to activate within us. We will be activating the pathways that lead to our highest self, our divine self within all 12 dimensions. And so today, the tool that we are using is again from Oren and Daben, and it is transcending your ego and birthing a new you. So the work with our divine self, some people call it I am presence. Oren refers to it as our divine self. It is the highest aspect of our being. And within that divine self is all that we are. And we are many things, many layers. I call it the layers of the onion. And so you will find your soul, your spirit, your Christ itself within the divine self. The divine self is truly the 12-dimensional rainbow body that we will be activating here the next few days. Tomorrow, I will be teaching breathing techniques, but also will meditate, because it is through our sacred breath that we can open up the pathways. You see, we all were created equal, as you heard also on the Gaia show. That's the big realization. We are all created equal. That means the same pathway, the same fragments of God within us, the same layers, and we are just activating the layers. Now, of course, this civilization 2022, first we clean up a bit. So also we'll do a little bit of cleaning, and the cleaning is the breath will help us to open up these pathways to be able to actually just reconnect what is within us. So this journey, what will we do? Tomorrow we'll be again doing breathing, meditation, a little bit of knowledge, and then the next day we will take a quantum leap. Quantum leaps are my favorite things to do because it is all about going to the next level of your own being, really. And it's not that we are dissatisfied with where we are right now. We are extremely satisfied, but we also are inspired to keep going, to keep creating the highest of our own being, to become that which we promise to be, and that is a co-creator with Divine Mother. And another thing is that, maybe you are already seeing. We'll take it to the next level. Seeing, you can definitely see more with your third eye than with your physical eyes if you open the third eye. Sometimes the third eye can also be open when your eyes are open. Sometimes it opens up when your eyes are closed. So maybe when you do these meditations, hopefully you saw the light, the incredible light that your divine self gave to you during this meditation. It was immense. It was nonstop flooding of light, the geometries that were downloaded into us. And this makes a difference. So that when we build up a certain level of light, yes, thank you for seeing it. It's really unbelievable what happens when we do this. It's like entering a fantasy movie, and it's just as our divine self says, here you are, let me gift you, let me gift you, let me gift you. So if you work with Patricia Cota Robles, she always says, give the full power to your divine self, full power, the really dominion over anything else. Let the divine self be in charge. When the divine self is in charge, all life becomes perfect, and we are moved and inspired by the divine self. So thank you for being here today. I will post just the information part on YouTube, the meditations, you know where to find. You can again go to orenanddaben.com to get these tools that are incredibly powerful. For example, so I've been working with this journey specifically for decades. And every time I take it, I go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. It never ends. So these tools are timeless, eternally timeless. And so you can definitely forever enjoy the benefits of this. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you either later today or tomorrow.